Okay, guys, welcome to another episode of LayerX Talks. It's great to be back here again. Um, Today we have a really interesting talk ahead of us, I'm sure. So let's not wait any longer. I'm Carlos, head of marketing at LayerX. With me, as usual, you guys already know, it's Agustin, social media and community manager. And today we're going to talk about the role of hackathons in building on Ethereum with our guest, James He, who works as an Ethereum core developer, and he's also an ETH Chicago organizer. So welcome, James. How are you?
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for accepting our invitation. So I'd say we start with the basics. What can you tell us about the Ethereum Chicago Hackathon and what it's inspired, its creation, and the primary goals behind it?
Yeah, sure. So ETH Chicago is a 3-day Ethereum focused builder and creative in real life event. And the event is really ran by the community for the community. And our goal is to try to bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3 and sort of be the one of the areas for the locals to sort of connect and sort of know each other in the space. And so Chicago is the third largest U.S. city, but until now, we haven't had our own ETH event. So for years, the community has been wanting this event, but there hasn't been enough organization to put one together. And starting from end of last year, we've been hard at work trying to build up this event and this community. I see Tippy on Tippy 5-star on the call as well. Do you want to add anything to that?
Hey, James. Hey, everybody. Yeah, no, you did great. I mean, the main idea is we are a community of volunteers, and we just were like, why isn't there something in our city or even in the Midwest? And so we've just been doing our best. I started volunteering about a month and a half ago. We got a couple weeks left. If you want to help out in some way, you can message me, and I'll try to get you in somehow. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So in regards to the venue, it takes place at the Willis Tower, or as the locals like to call it, the Sears Tower, which is the largest or the tallest tower in Chicago and the third tallest building in the U.S. So for our first ETH event, we're trying to make it iconic and represent the city.
Yeah, I think it's a great way. And with like such a big city, it must have its own challenges, right? You said you start preparing this since last year, so it takes some time and effort, and probably a lot of people to host an event like this, I can imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, the ETH meetup event in Chicago is very OG. It started in 2015, and it's been meeting at a local NFT gallery in the city. But most of the crypto communities and companies are pretty desperate, and they're sort of all over the city and in the suburbs and sort of all over the place. And each of these communities tried to host their own events, but we're trying to do something big to bring everyone together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe in something big, what are the challenges that you are facing right now?
Oh, yeah. In terms of sort of building the event itself, we're building it's because it's run by the community for the community. We're building the community as we go. So the challenges in any kind of first time event It's sort of the same with us. We're sort of learning as we go and seeing what works and what doesn't work. And we're trying a lot of new technologies, including using the TAIKAI platform to help with managing our hackathon.
Cool.
One
Um,
challenge.
Oh yeah, go.
Yeah, I mean, I also want to give a shout out to James. He's really a humble guy, but he keeps on during our meetings. He's like, "Oh, it's another chicken and the egg problem." We always are saying that, where it's like, in order to get maybe a specifically large sponsor in place, they want to see that you've already done X, Y, and Z, and in order to get X, Y, and Z, you may need to get the big sponsor. So a lot of the problems rely on moving parts, and does this person confirm, and is this person free? And right now we're scheduling all of the talks in place. We have like over 100 speakers or workshops over the 3 days. It's going to be incredible, but just like scheduling everything and making sure people are happy is quite tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think this first conference, this first event, will serve as a learning experience as well for you. About the speakers and the conference, what topics can attendees expect? DeFi, what more?
Yeah. So in terms of the conference, we've created 5 different tracks. Because Chicago is such a diverse city. There's so many different kinds of industries, and we would love to hear how each of these industries play a part in Web3, and how are they interested in crypto and blockchain development. So our 5 tracks are Builder, which is primarily Web3 native, the creatives, so artists, NFTs, music, traditional business, finance, and then legal and policy. So there will be like a pretty wide array of talks coming from on the legal and policy side, what things are sort of changing in the landscape, on the finance side, whether it's DeFi or how traditional finances is trying to integrate into blockchain, and then your typical new advancements in Web3 talks as well.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on, and a little bit for everyone, depending on what they are more interested in at. But definitely seems like a very massive event, and 3 days worth going for sure. I wanted to touch point on the hackathon itself of ETH Chicago, which will be hosted on TAIKAI. So if you want to join, we'll put links. You can also check our socials at ETH Chicago social media as well to join the hackathon. But James, our GP, whoever wants to answer, I wanted to ask you what are your expectations regarding the projects developed for the hackathon, and if you have any specific use cases within the Ethereum ecosystem that you would be particularly excited to see addressed through those projects that come out of the hackathon.
Yeah, I'll start off, and then Tippy, you can sort of join in and add in. So for our hackathon, we've decided that it's going to be in real life only, and the primary reason for that is we're looking to build the community and sort of network the local community. So that's going to be our primary focus for this particular hackathon. So it's not going to be hybrid or virtual. In terms of sort of the bounties themselves, we're looking to have an impact on Chicago public goods. So our main track bounty is really looking at how do we help the city, or how do we help our community grow. And I'm pretty excited to see what can come out of that. But our partners have also provided some very interesting bounties as well. Arbitrum has a lot of new technologies, whether it's Orbit with L3 or Stylus coming out soon. There's also trying to use AI for DAO governance with CityDAO, as well as trying to build things for the NFT community with Little Nouns. So there's a pretty wide range of different projects, and it'll be exciting to see how some of these submissions might hit multiple bounties at the same time, and that'll be exciting to watch. Tippy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, great. Well said, James. For one of the exciting things that has started happening with some of our partners and mentors is we've gotten access to some VCs and UX, UI people who are going to bring their perspective to help the teams that are build stuff that is not only cool and helping, winning a prize, but then can keep on going into the future. We really hope that some of the next big protocols might come out of this hackathon, because we've assembled like a multidisciplinary set of these workshops, really inspiring things about all kinds of different stuff to get people thinking in a unique way. And then we've got resources IRL with these mentors and office hours and a Genius Bar, front-end mentors, investor, business people, mentors to sort of guide teams into building something that's not only like cool and can win a prize, but can keep them going, and we can maybe see some long-term impacts in the ecosystem.
Great. I want to point in the bounties. What are the rewards of each bounties? I saw Arbitrum as well, right? You didn't mention.
Yeah, so our bounties are sort of both in-cash prizes as well as cryptocurrency prizes. So most of them, like our main track, will be sort of cash prizes in USD. Little Nouns and some of these DAO bounties will be in ETH. As well as winning some NFTs. So especially with Little Nouns, there's 3 Little Nouns given out as bounty prizes as well.
How do you think that this incentive given to developers on build, for example, an Arbitrum, or how this benefits to the bounty promoter? Like in this example, for example, for Arbitrum.
Yeah, I think hackathons are a great way for especially these product teams to try to get the community to try new things. There's all these new features that are being released in new versions. With Arbitrum, having people try out L3s would be awesome. People can try to use temporary L3s to test out their project, and then spin up your own blockchain, and then have a piece of the state return back to L2. So there's all these cool things that people can test out during this time, and then also have some time to ask the developers on, like, are we doing this correctly? So having on the company side, having a brand new perspective from a large group of developers on how the tool is used, and then from from the developer perspective to get support and learn a little bit more about what some of these tools are capable of.
Nice. That's great. Just want to say hi to Dale that just joined us as well from the ETH Chicago side. Welcome, Dale.
Hey guys, thank you. I just wanted to quickly add on to James's answer too with what we would look forward to, which is we made the decision, which maybe for some creatives made them a little scared, but we made the decision to put creatives under the hacker umbrella, right? They're part of that. They can be part of the hackathon. And, part of what I'm most excited for is hopefully to get through to, even a dozen even creatives that understand that, with this technology, they can launch, and no code experience even now with how good some of these interfaces are getting and the backend infrastructure, they can launch relatively sophisticated, global expressions of their financialized expressions of their creativity. So very much looking forward to that piece as well.
Yeah, that's great. I actually have one question, because it's interesting that we see Web3 hackathons structuring themselves with the bounties. So before, traditional hackathon would have a set of categories and developers could choose from. Nowadays, and specifically in Web3 hackathons, we see a lot of bounties coming up. From an organizer side, do you think that this facilitates bringing in more sponsors because each one can promote their own bounties? Do you think it also helps out the participants because they have more choice of bounties, different tasks to work on and projects to create? What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think it's important to have both general bounties as well as partner bounties. Of course, from the partner perspective, they would like the hackers to be focused on some particular area, especially of their interest. But sometimes for these for community building, hackers just want to sort of show off their own project. So everyone is joining the hackathon with a different reason, and we would like to be as broad as possible to cater to as many talented individuals as we can.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly add. I mean, you guys probably see this firsthand. There is we see this like budding class. It's already here, maybe, of like somewhat nomadic. Maybe I'm getting stereotypical, but blockchain developers that, as hopefully this network of hackathons continues to grow, and with it, hopefully TAIKAI continues to grow in usage, it may be possible for some of these folks to have full-time job, or at least, go through 12 months of exploring different ideas until they hit one that works and have a relatively stable life of just bouncing between these different hackathons and hopefully winning a prize here or there, which is a really exciting future, to think about.
Yeah, totally. Actually, it's great that you touched that point because at TAIKAI, we are developing the TAIKAI Garden, which aims to be a facilitator of projects. We know that many times projects are created and developed during a hackathon, but then they die out. They don't see a light, and they don't come up to life after the event. So with the TAIKAI Garden that we are creating, it's an ecosystem that will help, or an accelerator if you want, that will help participants and projects to be further developed and come into life, not just for the hackathon itself, but also have some importance and relevance from there on. And yeah, for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, anyone looking to create their own project and have their own identity, this could be something very important, and that's also something we noticed from hackathons that we want to hopefully make it out and make it happen. So it's great that you touch on that. Also, speaking of participation, for those that are considering participating in the hackathon, is there any advice that you guys could give to developers to make the most out of their hackathon experience?
Yeah, I mean, for our hackathon, it's just a 3-day event, which means that in terms of development time, it's about a day and a half before submissions. And I would say to make the most out of it is to not only just be heads down focused on reaching that bounty, but take advantage of the networking experience and talking to some of these companies and learning a little bit more. I would say that is just as important as trying to win one of these prizes.
Yeah, for sure. I'm doing a workshop on the first day which has like a clickbait title called "How to Win Every Hackathon." And of course, win is like a acronym for doing, updating your mindset to not just be around the prize. Because as James was saying, it's only a few days. So like when you're building a project in a really short time, you need to be able to present and communicate the whole idea as best you can in the timeline. So you spend all your time making a really complex application that does all these features, but none of the judges can figure out what it's for. And when you do your presentation, it doesn't make any sense and it's confusing and we can't tell what is real and what is you're imagining. You're not going to win, and B, you might feel like failing because we work so hard on all this technical stuff. So it's really something we're trying to encourage is people having these multidisciplinary teams, partnering up with a creative. If you're a builder, if you're a tech person, getting a designer on the team, having someone with some business sense on the team. And then we have all these other people at the conference, which is just like, couple feet away in another room in this great space in the Sears Tower. So it's really exciting. Shout out to everybody who's been volunteering to put this together. I see Goldie and Wylan over there.
And I want to make you a question, Tipi. You are the breed, right?
Yeah.
How do you envision the role of the hackathons contributing to the growth of the Ethereum ecosystem in this case? In terms like in technical and base advancement, and also in terms of community engagement with developers.
Yeah, you're asking like not just our hackathon, but like hackathons in general.
Yes, hackathon in general. I asked it to you like with a dev real mindset.
Yeah, of course, that's a great question. So like what we're trying to do at ETH Chicago is, I think, an extension of overall the benefit of hackathons, which is it gives you this chance to connect with other people and work with other people. But even stepping one step back what is a hackathon? What are the benefits of hackathons? Well, I don't know about any of the other devs in the audience, but when I first started learning, I was just sort of alone in the process on YouTube, reading tutorials, putting things together. So I wasn't getting feedback in any way other than what I went out there and tried to find. So I would show it to people and hear their opinions, but it's not the same. And so what hackathons do is, even if not everybody can get individualized feedback from a mentor, which we are, by the way, trying to make sure that we have enough mentors on staff to give everyone that wants help. But even if you don't get that help, what you do get to see is who we selected as the winners. And by looking at the winning projects and comparing it to your project, you can learn a lot about, well, maybe why did I not win? Or where was I lacking? Or where do I have to improve over the next 3 months, for example? So for me, that's, as I started growing as a dev, hackathons were the place where I could, with very little risk, you're not going to get fired for making a mistake on a hackathon team. Your friends may be pissed at you, or they may not talk to you for for the next hackathon. But the long-term result is that it gives people a place to be safe and to iterate and try new ideas and be creative and be adventuresome with what they're building. And so hackathons in general take people from, hey, I can build this thing following a tutorial, to, hey, I built something totally unique, something special that breaks out of the template.
Amazing. It's all about the feedback.
Yeah. Until AI can do everything for us, it's people.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer on that. Also, just a quick note regarding just last question that we were talking about. As an advice to developers, we also have some really good articles on TAIKAI blog. A few of them actually were written by our VP of engineering, which has won a few hackathons alone. So firsthand experience and contribution and advice as well. If you guys want to read it, we'll leave the links soon. It's called the Hackathon. It's a 3-article series. So it's a really good read from someone that has firsthand experience in not just participating, but also winning a few hackathons. Yeah, moving on to the next question. And this one is for James. James, with your experience as an ETH core developer, could you share how your role in development process influences your approach, not just to organizing this hackathon, but also in the project evaluation?
Yeah, I'll speak mostly towards the organizing of the hackathon, and a little bit less on the judging, as we'll have dedicated judges for each of the bounties that are familiar with each of the areas. But I call myself an Ethereum core developer. I'm part of the protocol guild, but I mean, I'm just like a regular developer, like everybody else, going around the process of organizing the hackathon. You know, I have to think about how would I feel in the hacker's position entering this space. Do I feel lost? Do I feel confused? Do I feel like I don't have enough support? And trying to provide as much as we can with what we have for the hackers to help everyone succeed. Whether you win a bounty or not is I wouldn't count that as success. I think hackathons are a bit more than that, and you could develop some relationships or friendships along the way that are just as important.
On the same track, I have a question. Do you believe that hackathons could help to onboard Web2 users or Web2 developers specific to Web3?
Yeah, absolutely. Entering this space, I've been in the crypto space for about 2 years at this point. Prior to that, I worked in sort of traditional finance at JP Morgan, working as a full stack developer. And the truth is, blockchain development isn't some kind of like black box. It's building on top of existing technologies. You're still going to be interacting with APIs. You're still going to be interacting with services. In this case, it'll be like an Ethereum node that you'll be calling to interact with. But most of the technologies are familiar with most developers. It's just to get onboarded takes a little bit more to understand some of the properties of the blockchain, but at the end of the day, it's using a lot of the existing things that people know.
Yeah, I also want to say, like, when you have a teammate who is a Web3 expert and you're just a front end person, it's really easy to learn how, like, where just by asking them questions. Oh, how does this work? And by doing the brainstorming together is a great way to understand what are the constraints of the technology. So yeah, I totally agree that this is a great way. If you have a Web2 friend, if you are a Web2 person who's like interested in learning more about this stuff, it's a great chance to get your hands dirty doing the stuff, and add it to your resume, add it to your skill set.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So this is a way to also extend the invitation to developers and Web2 users that may be a bit afraid or scared that they won't be able to join the hackathon to participate. I think it's also a great way to mingle and to start learning from experience with other people and network. So a hackathon is definitely one of the best ways to do it. So we're getting close to the end. It's been a great talk. Looking ahead, what do you guys foresee as the most exciting opportunities and challenges for developers within the Ethereum ecosystem?
I guess I'll start. I mean, going back to why we're creating this event in the first place and having this hackathon. I mean, one of the biggest challenges for Ethereum developers is like, where is the community to go to talk about all of the cool things that we're building and all the cool things that we're trying out. I mean, Chicago, even for such a big city, it's the community sort of all over the place. So building that community and having an in real life community to fall back on instead of just only being in the digital world is a big problem to solve, and we're taking the first step to try to address that. Anyone else want to add anything?
I just think like the UX. I built a Web3 card game for a hackathon, and I'd been spending ages, and I was in my own world where I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna put in a nice free NFT token gate, so people get this free NFT, and that opens the game up. And then once they're in the game, they can buy, play, and then save the progress." And what happened when I showed it to my cousins and people who would love to play the game, they didn't have MetaMask. And then it just was like a whole thing, and those people will not play the game. Even my cousin who's sitting there wanting to play the game I built with me is going, can't we just talk or something? Can't we do anything? But he's filling out this thing and writing down 12 words, and then I'm worried about, is this dangerous? He's showing me all of his thoughts, and I'm just going, oh man, we have still a long way to go.
And I would just quickly add off of that, with a lot of the recent developments of usability from a development perspective, from a user perspective, I do think there's a much broader design space every day that's being created. And so with that, there's some low-hanging fruit probably that's unrealized in a lot of just practical real-world utility. And so not to just go back to the main bounty, be too much of a salesman, but we are hopeful that some of the hackers come up with very practical ideas, helping with our iPass, payment tolling system, helping with boat rentals in the summer, helping with restaurant. I don't even know. There's a lot you can do there. So I'm excited to see whether it's through this event or other things within the next year and a half. I think there's going to be some very practical examples put in place, since some of those edges are being kind of filled in for a more practical user experience.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, actually, it's where we can see the masses also understand a little bit more and get interested more on Web3 when we can actually solve real world problems and local problems even. So thank you for that, Dale. I think it's a great way. And also, to wrap up this question a bit more specific, I think we already touched some points on it, but I want to ask you guys, how do you think that hackathons can play a role in addressing these ecosystem challenges and also capitalizing on those opportunities?
So I'll go first and give James a second to think about it. I'll just say quickly, one of the big ways we can be very uniquely helpful, and this is also why we wanted to be run by our community truly, in addition to hopefully just putting on our best example of what Chicago can put on, is that, by being run by this community, we also have, as a Genesis partner, World Business Chicago, who leads a lot of the kind of innovation work for the mayor's office directly, right? We have a lot of relationships that we built up with different chambers of commerce, different local business owners. And so those are still only, less than a year old, really, because we only kicked this off in April. But I think understanding kind of intimately what the unique problems are of different communities, and then also, which is important in this space, like building a true in real life relationship with these local businesses who may be integrating this stuff, or, a government office, whatever. I think having this community run has really helped us kind of push in that direction. And so hopefully, because we have those relationships and that acumen, this event and, externalities of it in general can be helpful towards actually addressing problems that like truly exist here.
Yeah, I'll just add on in terms of like the organizing space and how hackathons can help there. It gives a reason for people to sort of help out and volunteer and go towards the same goal, and it gives others a reason to show up and meet new people. Some people are there to show to win prizes. Some people are there to show off their project. But I mean, it's really a reason to connect people.
Well, guys, before we go to an end, I want to make an announcement. We will release a special edition of the MX NFT. It is the official LayerX NFT. This drop will be exclusive for the ETH Chicago assistants, so it will be awesome. And the NFT, the character, we have a particular accessory related to the Chicago culture. So I don't want to spoil more, but it will be really amazing. And also today in social media, we announced a surprise for our followers that it will be the following. The people that had the proof of participation NFT of this LayerX Talks will be whitelisted and allowed to mint the Chicago NFT as well. So after the call, don't miss out. Go to our Discord and Telegram server, and find the link in the announcement channel. You can claim your proof of participation NFT, and with that NFT, you will be whitelisted to mint the MX from ETH Chicago. It will be awesome. I won't spoiler more.
Yeah, we hope you guys enjoy it. So don't forget about it to check after the talk, our Discord. But yeah, guys, I think we've been having a really nice talk. As we're closing, I just want to ask you if you want to leave any final message or comment to share with the audience, or if you want to do just a quick recap of ETH Chicago for those that joined a little bit later, feel free to do so.
ETH Chicago in real life event at the Willis Tower or Sears Tower in the M Club, about 2/3 of the way up the building. September 15th to 17th. There will be hackers, there will be conference attendees, and a lot of locals, a lot of unique speakers. We haven't even announced all the cool speakers that we'll be having.
Yeah, and happening from 15th to 17th September, right?
Yep. 15th to 17th. Coming up soon.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I don't know, Dale, TP, thank you also for joining us. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just final words. If there's anybody out there in the Midwest or anywhere that wants to come and you're like on the fence and you're like, oh, hackathon ticket, $75. I'm worried about that. I mean, there's going to be food for 3 days, amazing stuff. But if money is a problem and you're able to get yourself over here, just DM me and we'll figure something out. We want you here. We want you building with us IRL if you can. Whether you're a beginner and you've never done a hackathon and you don't think you're good enough at coding, we'll find you a team. And and if you're a badass developer who can win all by yourself, we want you to come. But maybe you should be a judge and a mentor instead of beating everybody's pants off. Anyways, that's my take. But we do want awesome projects. So if you're awesome, come through and win.
Yeah, echoing all of that. And then just as a final thought, in addition, and we hope like this relationship with TAIKAI is an example of this. Like we're early still. We're less than a year old, obviously, but we are trying to build a community here, a social graph here that not only like locals can use to hopefully do a bunch of awesome coordination, but also for, outside partners that are really interested in accessing the Midwest, right? Educating the Midwest or accessing it in other ways. We hope to, be a good partner for all of you guys. So look forward to continuing to grow our relationship with TAIKAI and understand how we can be more helpful for, everyone else doing awesome work everywhere else around the world, how they can get into Chicago and access all the really brilliant people as easy as possible.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for joining us, and we are super excited to host the hackathon on TAIKAI. And also congrats guys on the first ETH Chicago. We are so far apart in real life, but through this talk I was able to actually feel the vibe and the local community that you guys are aiming for. So congratulations. We are rooting for you. And yeah, from my side, just to wrap it up, thank you so much once again for the three of you, Dale, TP, James, to joining us today, taking time off your schedule to be here. I think it was a really good talk. Hope everyone enjoyed from our community, from anyone who joined from the ETH Chicago side. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to claim the NFT. And I leave to the final word to Agustin, so we can wrap it up.
Yeah, guys, from my side, thank you for joining. Thank you for the audience. And I really wish you a lot of success with the event. I'm sure that it will be amazing. And yes, success for the hackathon participants as well. Let's see what they develop.
All right, my friends, it's been a pleasure. We'll catch you up on the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great, thank you. Bye-bye.